the Science of Mind global vision for this year, which is to create a world that works for everyone. Isn't that a beautiful, bold vision? And as I thought about that, I thought, first, we got to build a world, create a world that works for us, an inner world, right? Because the peace, the love, the joy, the truth, all of that begins right here where I am. And that's what I have influence on. So we're going to be creating a world, an inner world that works for us with the global vision in mind of, in doing so, that is building and creating a world that works for everyone. Does that make sense? Happy New Year, you guys. Didn't mean to start out so serious. It's really good to be here and to be back in this beautiful place and to be refreshed and to begin this new journey of 2016 with each and every one of you. This month the question is tipping point or turning point. And we're going to lay the groundwork for that today for this month of study. We've all heard the idea of a tipping point, which is when something reaches a critical mass, there's an opportunity for major change to happen. And in today's world, it's often associated with our environment, our global challenge that we have, that our troubadour, our ambassador of Nashville, Susan Shan, forges a way for us in our environment, because we're at that tipping point where we have a choice of continuing to destroy Mother Nature or to have this be a turning point to be something so much more beautiful. And we each have that within ourselves. And if you're like me, oftentimes it seems like things have to reach that tipping point before I'm ready and willing to use that as a turning point to make some change. Because it takes courage to change, doesn't it? And it takes courage to even hope sometimes. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's those moments in your life, those moments of decision, those moments when we individually and collectively decide to make a shift, to head in a different direction than the trajectory of where things seem to be going. And oftentimes what is called forth from us in doing so is to take a different action. Try a new behavior for us to be that change. So perhaps there's some of you that this morning you are just filled with that New Year 2016 enthusiasm of, let this be a year of change. Let this be a turning point for me, where I can be and act in that integrity of who I really am. Do we all share in wanting that for ourselves? Yes. Yeah, because in doing so, what a blessing we are. What a blessing we are to life. And when we take advantage of these tipping points and decide to make it a turning point, we get way different outcomes. Some really amazing and miraculous things, some unexpected things can happen. Because we know that if we keep doing the same thing that we've always done, what are we going to get? Yeah. So it's exciting to begin to try something a little bit new and different, even if we don't quite know where that's going. We may be surprised in a really beautiful way. So we're going to use the foundational principles of science of mind to help us tip in that direction where we experience more joy and love and abundance and creativity and just all of the fruits of the Spirit, that we experience that just literally in our own lives in a greater way. And so I want to begin with something that Julie McIntyre, who was the director for the Center for Earth Relations, said. She said that there comes a point when you know without a doubt, without hesitation, that you cannot go back to your old life. You cannot be who you once were and have a new life. Now, when I first read that, I thought of that first really pivotal moment in my life where the whole trajectory of my existence changed. And it was 28 years ago when I hit bottom and began recovery. And there, I had no idea what was in store and what was ahead and what that was going to look like. But I knew that I had to let go of everything that had been before. And that began a new life and an unfoldment of things I never even imagined. And so maybe you've had those moments, probably many of them, where you were in enough pain. Unfortunately, sometimes that's how some of us stubborn, willful ones are. Anybody else? Or is it just me? Okay, thank you. Okay, that makes me feel better. But that is such a great opportunity. It's a turning point. And I also just want to plant a little seed for something else that I'll talk about today, is maybe we don't always have to be like on our knees to be willing to change. Maybe we could decide. You know, this is what kind of science of mind teaches us, is that you can make a choice, not be forced to, because you're going to die if you don't, right? Okay, so this Sunday, we're going to begin this, and we are going to look at these turning points, and there's 5 perspectives that I want to talk about tonight, and I want you to listen to these and sort of see where you are with them. Some of them, maybe you're like right there in heart and mind. Maybe others of them, you have them in your head, but they haven't made that journey down into your heart yet. But I believe that if we really embody these 5 perspectives, we're going to be in the flow. We're going to be in that beautiful, nice zone. Don't you love it when you feel like you're in that? When you're not resisting and fighting and going against and all of that, but just like in that divine flow where everything's unfolding. Yeah. So some of the older views may not apply and may not be applicable to these new views. And so I want you to really be honest with yourselves about where you are with these things. So the first old view is God is a judgmental man outside of me, determining whether or not I am worthy of anything. This God is to be feared. I have to be really good in order to gain favor. I have to beg, plead, bargain with this God, and God's punishments are not only melted out in this lifetime, but in the afterlife too. Anybody grow up with this God? It's really a part of our collective consciousness, particularly in the Judeo-Christian country that we grow up in. And sometimes we have to dig deep with this one, because we can, in our heads, go, well, that's nonsense, and we know that, and that's not what's true, and that's not what I believe. But, you know, beliefs have a way of kind of getting their roots down in there and having it come out in some other ways. So you might want to just re-examine that a little bit and see if there's any of that old paradigm that still likes to rear its ugly little head, especially when you're afraid or when things aren't going your way. And align yourself with what we know the truth to be, which is this turning point view that God is an energy of love, and it flows through absolutely everything. It sustains, it surrounds, it infuses, it's everything. That means me, like Rick, what you were talking about. I am that. I am that. God is what's looking through my eyes right now at you all. God is this space that's between all these objects. God is the breath that I'm taking every time I breathe. God is everything, and it's good, and it's love, and it's perfect, and all is well. Can you feel the truth in that? Yeah. So this energetic world is a world of love, and it's the foundation where everything emanates from. And it's the building block that forms everything. God is the unmanifest, this space, this imagination, and it is the outpicturing in form. And it's ever unfolding. And that's happening in, as, and through us. We are that. So, our second view I want to take a look at is the world is a scary place. Now, all you got to do is turn on CNN to get that affirmed, right? I mean, it is a scary place, right? Lynn, you are correct, sir. No. Our job is to put on the armor, to work like heck, to stay one step ahead, to be safe, to be protected from the terrorists, the super germs, the dysfunctional people, the toxic relatives, the what else? Shootings, GMOs. I mean, it's endless, right? What is that? Chemtrails. What is it? Oh. That's a new one. That's good. So in this view, our job is to survive. Now, I would imagine that many of us, up until a certain point, were just trying to survive, right? Until we found this teaching and this understanding and really began our spiritual journey. It was all about survival. Life sucks and then you die. You know, that kind of worldview. And I bet that not only have you felt like that at one time or another, but you probably know someone today that is that person. Or perhaps you're still that person. Anybody? You're not gonna? Maybe. Okay, sometimes, right? It depends. If I'm afraid or if things aren't going my way, right? Yeah, we don't like that, right? So the viewpoint that we really know to be the real truth is that the universe is actually, it has our back. And it's constantly conspiring for our good. It's sending us blessings and gifts and guidance all the time. Some of these things we see, some of them we don't. But you are loved. You are so loved, and you are supported and taken care of. What is wrong with this moment right now? Anything? Nothing, right? This is it. This is it. You are totally supported, right? The chair is supporting you. It's a comfortable room. You're surrounded by all these amazing people. This beautiful space. You're healthy. You're really attractive people. You are. You're a beautiful congregation. I feel lucky. Yeah. So we're loved. We're taken care of. You've got all the evidence of your life to prove that to yourself, right? We live in a cooperative universe that is a user-friendly world that no matter how it may appear at any given moment to your naked eye, life in its pure, beautiful form, without that consciousness of this sucks, life sucks, and then I die, it's a bubbling cauldron of limitless possibility composed of pure and perfect love. And when you have your head right, when you get right with God, as Lucinda Williams sings, you know that. You know that. So Holmes said, the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that you are sure to attain that goal. I believe that. Do you? That's so awesome. To believe free from every discord, total emancipation from the bondage of self and the crazy mind and all of that angst, and that it's sure to be accomplished by every single one of us. Now that's a world that works for everyone. So worldview 3, this old view, life happens to me. This is that first stage that Michael Beckwith talks about in the stages of consciousness, that victim stage. We've all been there. Sometimes we still go there. It's happening to me. I'm an innocent bystander. I didn't do anything. I'm a pitiable victim of circumstances. Weather, disease, or worse, my own dysfunction. That one really rang out to me. I'm a victim of my own dysfunction. How completely self-absorbed and deluded is that? Right? We can just confuse ourselves so much. It's happening to me, even my own dysfunction. It's not my fault. There's something wrong with me. Anybody else feel like that? Yeah. You're a victim of that. External events constantly get in my face, and the best I can do is learn to cope with these external events. God, it wears me out just to talk about it, yeah? Turning point view is that life emanates from me. We know that. I create my world with my thoughts, with my beliefs, and with my energetic frequency. And what I mean by that is we can't just say the words, we gotta feel them. We gotta feel them. I'm so filled with joy. You know, what do you think the results of that are gonna be? Okay, we gotta match this stuff with a true, authentic feeling. I am so filled with joy. Wow. Life is amazing. Mean it. Mean it. Try to convince yourself. Try to convince yourself of it. It is in our power to affect conditions and circumstances through the use of this one mind. And by mind, I'm not just speaking of your brain. The mind is the heart and soul and intelligence of us. Big, big. Not just our brains or our little crazy egoic mind. I'm not talking about that one. Science of mind says that we cannot say that one thought is creative while another is not. We must say that all thought is creative according to the nature, the impulse, emotion, or conviction that is behind the thought. And of course, we know that ignorance of this excuses no one from its effects. For we are dealing with a law, a perfect law, not just some whimsical fancy. So we have to be diligent, right? I mean, it's a little bit of a rigor. Anybody here lazy? Yeah, we just want it to be easy, right? That easier, softer way. Sorry. And then it's finding that balance between, letting go and being in the flow, but still taking action, right? Treat and move your feet. You just want to kind of sit at home and go, okay, God, just let it all happen for me. Yeah. So, this view of believing that life is all conspiring for you, that life emanates from you, external events are not happening to you. I was thinking that just a year and a half ago, we had been on a building search for a while, and things had culminated to a fevered pitch with that because we were back in a hotel room that was too small and had a big old pillar that was like this in the center of the room with these rock and roll blue lights. And it was pretty uncomfortable. And so we found a place that we thought we could work. But it was like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It was like so painful. So we finally let go of that one. And then we went, okay, we may have to get outside our footprint. So we found this dump in East Nashville that was 10,000 square feet of it was a mess. And it had literally zero parking. And it was at that point, you remember, and it was at that point where the general consensus, and these words were spoken to me, Dyann, I really believe that we're further away than ever of ever having a place. And I was like, you know what? I think I agree, And so I went home, and within a week, there was this other little voice inside my head that said, it was a Mary Morrissey voice that said, it only takes one, and what if it's easy? And within a week, after giving up, of course, doesn't that always happen? It's like as soon as we give up and let go, then grace can come in, right? Because we're not in the way, trying to make our will happen. And I found this, and it was like boom, 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 boom. It emanated from that place. At first we felt like we were victims of this exterior, all these conditions and problems and money and, all of that. But here we are. Wow. Amazing. So the fourth view is no pain, no gain. Well, we certainly went through that, didn't we? Yeah. We've become so accustomed to living in the life sucks paradigm that it never occurs to us that there's another reality or happiness possible. Pain, loneliness, and fear are the context within which we live our lives. And we're so conditioned to wallow in misery that the concept of life as a joyous adventure seems impossible or even unnatural. Have you ever felt like that? That life is hard. How many of you have that core belief that was instilled in you? And then you die. Yeah. No pain, no gain. Now here's the turning point view of that. There is no reason to struggle. Once we let go, like I did, and we surrender to the universal flow of life, it will take over and handle all the details. Yeah, it sent us Tim. You know, that was just one of many, 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 many that made it all possible. Pam Grout, in her book E Cubed, she said, every moment we waste on worst case scenarios undermines our ability to create the true and the beautiful. Every moment we spend worrying erects a block between us and all the signs and opportunities, and yes, blatant love that is here for the sole purpose of our enjoyment. So here's the turning point idea. Heaven is actually within us, and we will experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. The kingdom of heaven is within. And the fifth view is, I'm not worthy of a good life. I'm inherently flawed, inherently bad. This could have come from religious teachings, from our upbringings, or from a variety of other ways, but this view particularly must be released. And the turning point view is that my worthiness is not at stake. It never has been and never will be. There is nothing required of me to be worthy. I am worthy simply because I am. I am. Is God worthy? You are that. I am. Your spirit, your soul, and your destiny are all a part of this one life of God that is absolutely perfect. So I am worthy of everything. I am worthy of all good. I am worthy of good relationships. I am worthy of abundance. I am worthy of the kingdom. What? Success. Okay. Yes. So you have a choice. You don't have to be like down on your knees with the universe twisting your arm to make this turning point. You have a choice to take on these turning point views and to be diligent about where you may still be hung up with them and get right with God, get right with truth. And I want to share a personal story of someone that kind of embodied all of these in a way that speaks to what I'm talking about this morning. And so I'm going to talk to you about my mom, because I just got back from visiting her and my sister. And my mom, she started having babies when she was 18. And she had a couple babies, and my dad got transferred. She moved away from her home. She was very close to her family at 23. She was devastated, had no friends. 8 months after being there, her brother, her only sibling, died just real randomly. Her mom died of a broken heart shortly after that. And she was devastated. And she said that her question was why? Why? And she said she read the Bible cover to cover 3 times, and she never found an answer. But what she did find was, all I can do is trust. That's all I can do. And then she did another thing. She took a class. I never knew this until just I was home. She took a class on The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And she was like in her 20s. We're talking 1950 something. And because she knew she had to learn to mind her mind if she was going to have any peace. And she got that book and she took that course, and my mom just took it on. She just completely embodied it, just to drive me crazy as a teenager. I thought she was ridiculous. Pollyanna, in denial, repressed, not expressing her true emotions. You know, say things like, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. If you have lemons, make lemonade. You know, there's always the peaks. I mean, they just went on and on and on. Pollyanna, like, on steroids, I'm telling you. Okay? And drove me totally crazy. And I just thought she was delusional. And, you know, I was very intrigued by rock and roll and by the bad boys who had the attitudes, all that coolness, you know. And I just thought my mom was like the epitome of not cool, you know. And so I want to, like, fast forward until, and God, of course, has a great sense of humor, because now what am I doing? Yeah. I'm like my mom. What a nightmare. No. Well, you know, God figured if I didn't get it from having my mother be that, then he would just make me a Science of Mind minister where it was in my face all the time. Right? Okay, so fast forward my mom until a few years ago. She's almost 80. She went to a funeral with two friends of hers, and the guy who was driving, who's like 90 or something, they got in a horrible car crash. It was completely totaled. The car hit the side where my mom was sitting. The police didn't think anyone survived this crash when they saw it. My mom was in the hospital with just shattered everything. Head, brain, broken legs, ribs, just really bad. She was in for about a month. And she was like Little Miss Candy Striper while she was in there. And my mom's an evangelical Southern Baptist. She was in a room with this Muslim woman, became like best friends, cheered on this woman, just had the greatest attitude. In fact, she told me just when I was home that on her chart, when they would come in and look at the chart, it would say, she has an amazing attitude. That was her, you know, attitude is just, she made a choice so long ago and so embodied that and so lived that her body was like shattered. And she was just like, and like brightening up everybody's day and counseling to the woman in her room. And, you know, she'd say hi to all the other patients. And they were just like all blown away by this woman. And I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say, you know, she still drives me crazy. Like when I was just home, no matter what story or what thing she was telling me on, she'd go, God is so good. You know, and it's like, I even believe that, and yet she still irritates me. Oh. So, you know, God gave me a beautiful example. And if I forget it, well, you're all here just to remind me of each and everything I was supposed to learn when I was a kid. So here's the 5 points we made today. God is an energy of love. and creation that flows through everything. You are that. The universe has your back. You are being guided, protected, supported, and loved all the time. Life emanates from you. Nothing is happening to you. It's emanating from you, and you are creating your world by the thoughts and the beliefs and the energy, the heart that you have. There's no reason to struggle. Now, that doesn't mean you don't put forth a little effort. Move your feet. But there's no need for struggle. Let go and let this universal love and energy flow through you. Get in that zone. And your worthiness is not at stake. It never has been. It never will be. There's nothing required of you. You are already worthy just because I am. So I want to close and have you close your eyes and just let me speak to you from our official declaration of principle. We do our abbreviated version earlier in the service, but I want you to hear science of mind and just take these into your heart. I believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. I believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in everyone, and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit. I believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuousness of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. I believe that heaven is within me and that I experience it to the degree that I become conscious of it. I believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of all nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. I believe in the unity of all life and that the highest God and the innermost God is one. I believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. I believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of the individual, and that person who lives in close contact with the indwelling God may become a revealer of truth. I believe that the universal Spirit, which is God, operates through this universal mind, which is the law of God, and that I'm surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of my thought and acts upon it. I believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. I believe in the control of conditions through this power of mind. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, the eternal givingness of life to all. I believe in my own soul, my own spirit, my own destiny, for I understand that this life is all and is God. And so with these beautiful beliefs and declaration of truth and principle, let us make this the absolute most amazing year of our life. Are you with me?